Okay, so I'm Kat Hartliebe, recall. I'm also Todd Lieben and Kat Gillette. I'm everything. Well, no, there's different reasons to the different pen names. Todd Lieben indicates I have triggers in there. Kat Gillette could have triggers because it indicates for non-adults or it's nonfiction. Now, Autist is not nonfiction. Everything in the book is fiction, the poems and the shorts, but they're based off of experiences that I dealt with or experiences that those I know about have dealt with. All right, so it's a little complicated. So it's, I don't know how to explain it. So the only type of triggers you're going to find in Autist are ones that are common for autists because we have a tendency to get a lack of consent, forced masking, discriminations associated to autism because society hates us. I mean, generally society hates all disabled people. So shockingly, they hate people that they consider disabled, even though there's really nothing about them that would truly be disabling except society sets them up to be disabled. So this one has Let It Go. It's a poem that you can find in Poem a Day, May 2020. Aquarium Visit, which was the original post before I made it Autist. That is Jenkinson's Aquarium, and it's about special interest. The Mask, which is this is actually the Mask 2. I have a Mask 1 that I wrote in high school, but I'm like, this doesn't quite get what I'm trying to say. So I wrote the Mask a second time, and they are two different poems, even though the concept that I was trying to get in the first Mask is it's the same concept, but I wrote it from a more mature and more master poet perspective. Do I know enough? Is about how we acquire a lot of information about our special interest and we still won't be considered experts because we don't have any type of certification or experiences in the real world or this, that, or the other thing. Mrs. Namil is actually a math teacher, and there's two separate autistics in there. Now, I would be the one that is the savant who seems to know everything and wants to answer all the questions, and then I have the other one that I have family members all over the spectrum, right? So the other character does not have that high intellect. It's just not making sense. The thing about it is I am both characters. My dyslexia has made language harder, and it's made it harder overall. Having the disability when reading and having the disability when writing, and you don't realize this because I was able to counter it. And it's not counter, it's just work around. To be able to handle my dyslexia in the normal sense, I learned how to read mirror. I can read in a mirror, I can read upside down, I can read backwards. It all is the same for me. I've read French and German and Korean upside down. It just doesn't matter. I write upside down, backwards, and mirrored now because it was how I handled the dyslexia. I'm like, this letter is the letter no matter how I perceive it. There's still plenty of cases where the dyslexia causes me to screw up. And I can even read out loud. I try to read out loud to try and stop myself from having those errors from flipping words around. I'm like, and I still miss them. Because I'll read it and flip the words and be like, yeah, this is normal. This is how it's supposed to go. There's some disconnects there. So Mrs. Namil is a math teacher, and the two kids in class, the one is like, I'm not getting it. It's not connecting. And the other one in class is like, yeah, I know it. I got everything. They were both me. People don't realize that I had a learning disability because I have the savant too. It's like my desire for knowledge and my fast pickup on knowledge does not change the fact that it can be hard for me to pick up on it. The special thing is about being overwhelmed. You're so excited about this item that you're waiting for, and it doesn't explain what the item is. You're so excited about it that you basically set yourself up for meltdown. You put a sensory overload through excitement. So you have problems. And you just have to calm down. You just have to let that process through. So when an autistic goes up and they start going like, whenever they meet like someone that they really have interest in, and that can be like grandma. It's like they hype themselves up so much that it's become too much. They oversensitize, they oversensory themselves. It is a strange sensation. Like, you don't realize positive emotions can be too hyped too. Don't want to have a meltdown is really all of our perspectives. Like, we're going to try and do everything possible to stop ourselves from having a meltdown or a shutdown. And society does not care. So the book is more ADHD than autism, but they are comorbid. She goes into the store and her mom's like, all right, you can get this book as long as you also buy me this drink. So she's being given a chance for responsibility. She gets the book, forgets the drink. Mom sends her back in to get the drink. She'll have the book when she's done getting the drink. Trust is one of those issues that autism causes, because we trust so readily and we're so open to it, we end up getting hit hard because we're expecting the truth out of people and we're expecting the trust to be there, and it's not. This is part of that trauma that most autistics end up acquiring. Not very huggy. I am on the spectrum of don't touch me. My love language is physical, but I don't like being touched. I get very sensitive. My sense of touch is very, very sensitive, and all the sense of touches are very sensitive for me, and it can create a major problem. So I don't like people hugging me, and I need that distance, and it's been a problem over the years. So consent, as I said, is a concern. Cara's amusement trip. Cara is nonverbal. She is mute, but that doesn't change the fact that she's the main character and that she solves her problem as it comes about. She is a mute child. I was not the mute child. My muteness came in after my traumas induced it. But Cyrus was. Cyrus was the mute child. He did not talk at all until he was 3. He only did some level of mimicking. He didn't understand it. I had to go over a whole bunch of signs with him, so at least I could get him to say more. Or eat to indicate food. It's those little things that I needed from him so that he could communicate with me, and we ended up having weird communication signals between each other. Because I need to figure out, and he still struggles with communication. He doesn't understand how to get how he feels inside out, which is something that I'm trying to work with him. Nostalgia is about being free to stim. It's about how I always love to dance and sing. I still do. I've always done it, and society has always hated me for it because I would dance and sing down aisles in stores, across parking lots, through parks. I don't know how many people looked at me as if I'm some sort of crazy person, just because I would start dancing everywhere. Everywhere. I'm not even joking. And I have 8 years of dance, and I have 3 years of speech. So my dancing and my singing isn't exactly the worst. Still, I did it without music. And people would see me and think I'm strange. And I'm trying to say through nostalgia, don't hide it. Don't be ashamed do it anyway. It's good for you. The Glass Slipper is another masking poem, and it's indicating you'll never... The masking poems aren't there so that to remind you you'll never find your true friends, you'll never find your community if all you do is mask, if all you do pretend. Don't put on that costume. Remember the Glass Slipper's Cinderella. She wears this costume that doesn't truly hide herself, but she is. She's not saying who she is. She's hiding who she is so that she could have fun. And why should we have to hide who we are to have fun? So Autist is an own voices. This is who I am. And the more accepting I am of my autistic nature and my perspective of the world, the easier it's been. I've been a lot less depressed because I realize it's not me. There's nothing wrong with me. I am fine. I am managing. I am capable of independence. I'm fine. There's nothing wrong with me. It's society. Society is wrong. Society should never have considered me weird or crazy or having issues of that. How many psychs did I started seeing psychiatrists when I was 6. 6. I was 6. Who does that? And they never once was able to pick up on the fact that I'm autistic? I have a direct cousin, my mother's brother's son, who is very obviously autistic. And I met him and hung out with him, and it was fine. Everything was fine. There was nothing wrong with him in the normal sense. He was more openly autistic, and really society made him not grow. They denied him growth because they're like, autistics are always children. They can't grow. And I'm like, that's bullshit. We definitely grow. There's just so much wrong. So many issues. Autist is there to remind you. We are normal. There is nothing wrong with us. And I will stand by that. You can find this. It's Cat Gillette's only thing that's currently published. Alright. I'm done.